the #2 brand in terms of sales in California. So a really interesting company, really interesting group, and really interesting opportunity here. With that, I will turn it over to Graham and Kyle.
Thanks a lot for having us. Thank you. So I'm Kyle Kazan. I'm the co-founder, CEO, with my co-founder Graham Farrar, who's president. We're both on the board. Been at this some time. I'm going to take about 5 minutes, and I'm going to turn it over to Graham to really go through our deck. Assuming most of you guys don't know who we are, we've been a good, well-kept secret out here. My background is private equity real estate. Been doing it for many years, over 20. Most of our investors that came into Glass House Group came through that channel because I'd done very well for them. Graham comes from the tech space, where he was one of the founders of software.com. After a big win there, became one of the founders of Sonos, which many of you have on your phone. And so he and I think differently. I'm a value investor. He's a tech guy, so he's twice as fast, half the cost. Everything is an upgrade, so it's a fantastic partner to work with. Bottom line is we rolled up our private equity funds into a company over a year ago into Glass House Group. We consist of 2 wonderful cultivation facilities, greenhouse that we bought as flower facilities. These were, we were guided to the location by some agriculture professors that knew the best areas in California to grow based on sunlight and temperature, things like that. And so it led us to Santa Barbara, and also you'll hear about Ventura coming up. And so Graham did a brilliant job of basically converting those into cannabis. So we have 500,000 square feet. We have a manufacturing facility of 20,000 feet near our farms, which seems to be strange in this space, but we thought it made good sense to keep our cogs low. And that's in the zero tax city of Lompoc in northern Santa Barbara County. And we have 4 retail stores open right now, one in Orange County, California, one in Los Angeles, one in Santa Barbara, and one up in Berkeley. And so Graham will also announce that we have 2 that's not even part of this, that 2 big wins that he'll be sharing. Last year, he and I looked at each other and said, you know, we're going to hit critical velocity at 500,000 square feet. And by 2021, we'll be growing about as much as we'll be able to grow. And we needed to look towards expansion. Graham and I, in October of 2018, found a wonderful, utterly amazing facility, about 5,500,000 square feet. It's the 2nd largest greenhouse facility in America. Not cannabis, greenhouse facility. Built starting in 1996 and then built over the last few years, generates 14 megawatts of electricity, has indoor quality flower in 800,000 square feet of it. We're literally as good as any indoor anywhere in the world, along with some of the best sunlight and best temperature. So we had that. It's an expensive facility. And then the second was we merged with Element 7. Those are prolific retail license winners. So the 2 choke points we saw was how do you grow the highest quality and lowest cost cannabis, get that supply chain down, and then the retail stores so we could continue to build brands. Graham will share with you on the deck what we did when we turned the CPG, the brand, on last year. Great slide. So we are a brand company. We've got control of shelves. We've got control of our supply chain. The biggest things, before I turn this over, to know about us is that I'm the largest cash investor in Glass House Group. That's not promote, that's just cash. You know, check money out of my wife's and my checking account, millions of dollars invested in this. Number 2 would be my business partner of over 25 years. He also, and Graham is a very large investor as well. So we eat our own cooking. We believe in this. And through this transaction with Mercer Park, and we're very excited to be working with John Sandelman and his team, Jamie Mendola, many of you know, this SPAC transaction where they're acquiring us, we're actually then taking control of that company. And then we're making this purchase of Element 7, or the merger with Element 7, and the purchase of this farm. Graham will get into all those details, but we took no money off the table. We think we'd be selling short right now, which would be a mistake. Think in 3 years, when everything here is turned on and we can monetize it like we have everything else in our ecosystem, that the value of this will be a nice multiple from where we are today. So we're value investors. We're buying this farm like we do everything else at below replacement cost. So the value is there. And we grow cheaper than almost anybody else that we know of anywhere in the world. So we're super excited. With all of that said, I'm going to turn this over to my co-founder, Graham Ferraro. Graham?
Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. This is really exciting. So, kind of still gives me goosebumps talking about it, the opportunity to bring the Glasshouse Farms team and our over half a decade of experience in large-scale compliant cannabis cultivation in California together with the capital markets team of John and Jamie from Mercer Park, the balance sheet of Mercer, and then a true unicorn asset in the new greenhouse and control in what would be the largest by a factor of 2 retail chain in the state of California is almost pinch me good. So before I dive in, just want to remind people, everything in this story is towards this brand building and CPG focus, right? So we'll talk about cultivation, we'll talk about retail, but those are means to the end of building brands. Brand building CPG is the tip of the spear, and the rest is the wood behind it. We love being in California. I think it's the most exciting market out there. But this also is set up so that after we dominate California, if and when the walls come down, we don't assume that they do, but we do expect them to, that we will be set up to scale at a national level and potentially global after that. So just to kind of hit things off, I think I know what people think. It's who's Glasshouse? Why can they do this? The last time I heard millions of square feet in a greenhouse, it was in Canada. It ended in tears, and I have PTSD. And California is hard. Nobody makes money in California. Hopefully by the end of this, you'll understand why we have answers and have solved the California formula, which we think is very important, and then sets us up for national expansion. So California has always been our focus. It is the single most exciting market in cannabis. It's twice as big as the second largest. It's almost as big as the next 3 combined. It also is the true free market. So whereas in some other places the accomplishment is winning the license, in California the accomplishment is making products that consumers buy when they have lots of choices. Over 1,600 brands in California. So here, there's only 4 other operators, you may be the best, but that's like being the best player on your 6th grade soccer team. That doesn't mean that you can win the World Cup. California is the World Cup. California, the accomplishment is making a product that consumers buy over and over again. Our goal is to make products that can dominate all the various categories in cannabis so that we can then expand, starting with California, then the rest of the country. Also believe that California appellation matters to consumers. We can see that. We have the opportunity of to study a large free focus group. It's called the illicit market. It tells you what people want before they can have it, and what they want is California cannabis. If you go to a bodega in New York and you look at the secret menu, Florida's closer, Colorado's been around longer, but the shelves are not stocked with Florida or Colorado cannabis. They're stocked with California because that's what consumers want. Champagne comes from France, tequila comes from Mexico, cannabis comes from California. It will be a premium. It's also the best place to grow. You put those 2 things together, and coming from California and cannabis is where you want to be. So who is Glasshouse? Glasshouse today is the largest greenhouse grower in the state of California. We have a fantastic team. I would argue it's the best team in the state, quite possibly the country, for what we're proposing to do here. We also currently run 4 retail stores, all of them well above the average in California. We have a manufacturing lab just up the road in Lompoc, happens to be a 0% tax jurisdiction. We also have a hemp farm where we're working in R&D for large-scale cannabinoid production. So one of the most important things about this is nothing in what we're talking about here is not something that Glasshouse has already done and done successfully and done at scale. We have 500,000 square feet of licensed and fully operational greenhouses. We're going to add to that 5.5 million square feet of a true unicorn asset, irreplaceable, bought below replacement cost, in the right appellation, in the right climate, with all the right tools. It would, with an unlimited checkbook, it would take you at least 5 to 10 years to replace it. We believe it is a game changer in terms of our ability to cultivate at high quality and low cost again, in the appellation and the market that people care about for cannabis of California. So with that, we'll have 6 million square feet. We are bringing in 17 additional retail licenses. Those licenses have all been issued. Building permits for a number of them have been issued. Construction is starting. Building permits are expected shortly on the rest of them. That will give us 21 stores operational by the end of Q1 of 22. That will make us the largest retailer in California by a factor of 2. In addition to that, we actually recently, just last week, won 2 more licenses, both highly coveted in Santa Barbara County, one of them at UCSB, which it will be the only dispensary that's biking and walking distance from the college. It is going to be an amazing store. Another in San Ynez up in the wine country. Again, the only store in that region. We won those de novo within Glass House. Things get very exciting as we move forward. The front end of this ramp is already happening, and you can see it today. 2022 revenue predicted over $325 million and over $100 million in EBITDA. 2023 over $600 million and almost $250 million of EBITDA. It's a very exciting stuff, and that's still the front end of what this acquisition and this platform that we're building represents. So again, we are truly vertically integrated, one of the few companies in California that literally has every single license type that you can have. 2 operating farms, 4 operating retails, 3 brands going to 4 delivery networks run out of the back of all the stores. Type 6 solventless, Type 7 is hydrocarbon manufacturing, distro licenses, nursery processing. We've got it all. We've been doing this for over half a decade successfully. These are our 2 existing greenhouses, some of the nicest in the state. I would put them up against anybody, producing over 100,000 pounds of biomass and an exceedingly low cost. We own all of these facilities for cash. We have no debt. We have no leases. We have no landlord. That's typically the largest cost of a greenhouse growing facility. We have a 0 there. We're relentlessly efficient on labor, allows us to produce at a current cost of $150 a pound. For context, most of our competition has leases that are in the $1 to $1.50 a square foot range. At $1 a foot lease, you have $100 a pound in lease costs alone. So with a new facility, we'll be going to $100 a pound all in, which means that we can profitably, happily sell cannabis at a cost that most of our competition couldn't even pay their rent. So what we're going to do with the new facility is not turn it all on at once. It's 5.5 million square feet. It's massive. What we are going to do is we're going to turn on 1.3 million square feet of it as the first stage. For reference, twice before we have converted non-cannabis greenhouses to cannabis. Twice before we have tripled in size. What we're going to do here is just do what we've done twice before. A third time, it'll actually be easier because we have a better team. The new facility is right in our backyard. We know the labor markets. We know the regulations. We know the climate. Climate's actually slightly better at the new facility than our existing ones. A VP of cultivation actually lives closer to the new farm than our existing farm. So I think it's hard to underestimate just how hard that would be if this was 7 hours away, but this is right here in the middle of our ecosystem. So new farm, it is a unicorn. I'm a greenhouse geek. It's the nicest greenhouse I've ever seen, 5.5 million square feet, second largest greenhouse in the United States, the largest greenhouse that's permittable for cannabis. It has every trick you can imagine, 20 acres of lights. So that's 20 acres of indoor cultivation at outdoor OPEX. So indoor quality, outdoor cost, cogen, use the energy to make the natural gas to make the light, use the heat to warm the greenhouses, the CO2 to supplement the greenhouses. We bought it far below replacement cost, but just as maybe even more importantly, the time value. You could not find another place in California in the right climate to site and build a facility like this. If you could, it would be 5 to 10 years. And this one is here now. So it is a truly amazing facility. $55 all in, including CapEx. Is less than a quarter of the cost of other facilities. If you look at MSO averages out there, 200 to 250 a square foot is not uncommon. This is built, it is operating, and we are going to convert it with an awesome structure where we have 0 carrying costs for the non-cannabis square footage, but have it available on 60 days notice so that we can convert from tomato crop to cannabis to meet demand. Nothing in here is field of dreams. The first 1.3 million square feet that we are adding is to meet the demand that we have today. Then we have the standby idle capacity. If Chuck Schumer and team says it's go time for interstate commerce, we'll turn the dial to 11 much faster than we have in here. If things go slower, we'll set it for California. California is the largest state with over 38 million square feet of canopy. There's plenty to absorb this greenhouse. So again, a reminder, this is a brand building story. One of the bookends is the highest quality, lowest cost, largest scale cultivation. The other bookend is control of the retail experience. We are on track now for 23 stores, which will give us control of the education, the shelf, the bud tenders, the ability to educate them. People talk about what they know. We see it already. Our stores are all great, all very cannabis 2.0, 3.0. The pharmacy here does over 10 million a year out of 1,200 square feet. They all run delivery fleets as well. And they're great stores, but what's really great is the synergy between them and our brands. Our products do great in all the stores they're in. They do phenomenal in our stores. We sell 15 times as much of Glass House products in Glass House stores as the average store. So that combination, you think about the 23 stores, you think about 15x, you think about the fact that we're at 28% of the shelf now, which is a 400% increase from a year ago, and on our way to 50%, you can see that within our own retail network, we'll be able to create an opportunity for our brands that's almost as big as the California market is today. You can see the formula works. This was last year for Glass House Farms. Basically wasn't on the chart. When we started, finished the year at number 2. We're now going to replicate that through other categories and other products. So tripled our cultivation last year, cut our cycle time by 25%, opened 250 doors, on our way to 700 now, 400% growth in the share of shelf. The model works is the key piece, 63 to number 2 is the result. So a couple of our brands, one of which developed with Bella Thorne, is doing awesome. Glass House Farms is our flagship, recently expanded that by adding a premium line called Grower's Choice, which is now selling out, as well as a value line on smalls, which is also selling out, done by a great CPG team that understands planograms and psychographics and did it in a way that we're not cannibalizing our own products with our expansion. Mama Sue's Health and Wellness, really excited about that, partnered with Sue Taylor, 70-year-old African-American woman who understands cannabis and has been an advocate for a long time. Happy to help push that forward with her. So, products that we have overall touch 80% of the market. Flower is number 1. The combination of flower and pre-rolls together, over 51% of the market. That's where the most dominant, and we've got a brand that we white label for on the vape and concentrate side that we're about to in-house, which will give us coverage there. So lots of exciting stuff. If you look at what we did last year on a pro forma basis, this is GAAP numbers. We had a couple acquisitions that closed on January 1st. So last year was about $63 million in revenue for our existing base business, about $6.5 million in EBITDA. $5 million of that EBITDA came in Q4 alone. If you look at what we're planning for the base business in 21, that's really just a roll forward plus some seasonality of what we did last year. Then the growth starts to kick in with the expansion in 22 and 23, keeping in mind that these numbers of 2.5 million and 21 are really just halfway there. So 24 and 25 stay very exciting as well. So we're combining with Merchant Park. Really excited about that. Great team. Have an $85 million pipe in the bank. John Sandelman over there, probably one of the best track records out there for a cannabis SPAC. So super excited for the capitalization and pulling all these pieces together. Wouldn't be anything without the team. We've got a great one. Kyle, myself here. Daryl, formerly COO, our COO, now future was, or used to be with Nestle and Nissan. Valet came from Red Bull. Jim Berry, who runs retail, was Nordstrom's in anthropology, then opened 30 stores for GTI, and is now, we're really excited to have her on the team. So thank you very much, everybody, for taking the time and listening to our presentation. Kyle and I are available. Canaccord can connect you, and happy to have any additional questions via email or one-on-ones that we can answer for anybody. So thanks a lot for listening, and look forward to talking to you soon.